share your screen. Tell us what's going on with this page, and maybe Drew, Dorian, do y'all want a little bit more? What kind of information are we going to be looking for? Like, where do you have the most nested flows on this page? Anything like that helpful to know?
Sure, I'm actually going to have John do the screen sharing because he is one of our primary devs.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah. So little background is basically we have a marketplace for digital laser files. We've just launched about 3 weeks ago, and we're seeing delays on page load anywhere from 8 to 30 seconds, depending on the day. We tracked down one problem, which was our image host was using a third-party service that was really laggy. So we've swapped out that. That has brought that down. But John, do you want to use a Lighthouse real quick so we can have something to start with, and we can kind of show the errors that we're seeing in Lighthouse? And so we did a bunch of optimizations today on images where the images were being loaded full size for some reason, even though we were using adaptive delivery. So that we fixed the majority of those problems. I think there's just one left, but we are seeing that, for example, all of the text is not being, this is not my area of expertise. So all of the text is not being optimized or compressed. And so it's about a 3 meg or so text file is 3 megs of fonts and text or something like that are being loaded. I would have to pull that up on my side. I don't remember the exact wording on that. Let me pull that up here real quick.
Yeah, I think I saw that in a screenshot. Maybe Josh showed me. So there was something that was really big, and that's like definitely the first place we should look.
Yeah. So initially it was saying we were having 63 seconds of load time for images, which we have that down to 2 seconds now.
Scott, what did you use for the images?
We're using Upload Care to host our images.
Okay. Just for anyone else who might be looking for something that's a good way to host images. Thank you.
Cloudinary and Upload Care are really good for image hosting. They have uploader widgets that you can add that will pull from Google Drive and Facebook and other places. So if you're doing any kind of user-generated content, both of those are really good. And so, yeah, let's see, where are we on this? Text compression, here it is. John, can you go to that? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. I see. Text-based. It says text-based resources, but it's not all text. That's actually like the static files for your entire site. So it's like it's like saying your site is that big.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if that's something that we need to do or if that's something that we just ignore or something you guys need to do.
I mean, so like what this is actually saying is to just gzip it or like do something to compress it, which at some point Builder will do that, but usually that's not like the make or break issue. Like usually if you're seeing like 30-second load times, there's usually other stuff that you can do to reduce it. So I'm not totally sure. I mean, these static files look big to me. Like that's like almost 2 megs. Although it's like 2 megs isn't that crazy for a website. So like it definitely shouldn't take 30 seconds to load, you know?
Mm-hmm. I mean, this page does have a lot going on. We're checking to see if the user's logged in. We're checking to see if they just purchased the file, so that when they come back, basically to download the file. There's a whole bunch of other checks in there. We're seeing if they're running mobile or desktop because we run 2 different designs that are independent of each other. We have a number of images that are loading, all that kind of stuff. So it's a pretty ridiculous amount of thing. So I guess the question I would say then is more like, if we're loading this page in, I think right now it's about 8 seconds. Is there any other kind of low-hanging fruit that you guys can think of that would help us reduce those load times?
I would say two things. There might be some stuff to reduce it, but even if you can't reduce it, the way to handle this then might be to like load something really simple, because you're in the page load flow doing all this stuff right now, right? Imagine if the page load flow had nothing and just like had a loading icon or like a simple placeholder image or something, and then start loading everything in. You can do things like that that will make it feel faster. It won't actually make it any faster, but to a user, it'll feel much faster. So if we can't find anything, just wanted to mention that. Just basically like a UI update. For this, maybe we could just, I don't know, like go through it and try to see, because it does look like a lot of stuff's going on. It's basically, this is page load, and then page binding is inside of this, which is probably a lot going on in there. Yeah. So there's definitely, like, I don't know, it makes sense that things in here we could potentially move out or optimize somehow.
We actually did have a loading lottie on there, but we ran into a problem that it was taking 15 seconds to load, even as a tiny lottie. So I was wondering if there might be a known issue with lotties on Builder right now.
I don't know of an issue with that, but did you remove everything else from the initial page load and then put just a lottie, or did you like put a lottie over top of everything else? Basically?
No, we had a lottie as part of the elements on the page that was then hidden after the page loaded.
I think it probably just like it was loading everything, including the lottie, but also everything else in the background, even though it showed the lottie. You know, because what I'm talking about is actually like you'd remove everything out of page binding and page load. You'd move those all to a separate flow, let the page load, and then call those new flows. So then it's like after the page shows to the user really quickly, hopefully, then you're running all those calls and all those other flows.
Yeah, we might need to do this a different day then, because Matt needs to be here for that, I would think.
Yeah, I don't think we'd even be able to set that all. I would say for today,
Yeah.
we should just look through and see if there's anything easier. But basically, if there's not, because like a 2 megabyte page isn't crazy, you know. So if it was like 8 megabytes, I'd say like let's focus on optimizing. But 2 megabytes, there's a chance we won't even be able to optimize it that much. But there's also a chance we can optimize a lot. You know, who knows? But
yeah.
Yeah, one thing
sorry.
can we see is like in the network, like if you refresh this, like does anything stand out, like taking extra long? Like if you scroll up, like I already saw, like that long one, go down a bit. You'll see it in the waterfall column because that's the length, like that there. So this is getting data. Can you go to the preview?
Dorian, this page is accessible if you wanted to just pull it up on your machine. I don't know if that might be easier.
Expand the object. Yeah, so like this is getting probably all the records in the database.
yeah, it's probably one of those pre-caches I saw in there, I bet.
Yeah, so like these, it's just optimizing. I would start with the network gets, you know, when you're getting data, figure out why you're retrieving all these records.
We found that if we need to look up, because because of the way that the site's built, we have a lot of relationals associating data, and because we're using data in many different areas, and so we can't just say use current record field value for view of the page, because it's got 6 or 7 different collections that are feeding data to it. We have an images collection, we have a files collection, users collection, so on and so forth. And so whenever we do a lookup in those collections, it does appear to be pulling 100% of the data, even if we're filtering it down. So I'm not sure if that's a builder thing or not, but we currently have 2,500 submitted records into our projects collection, and expecting that to grow by leaps and bounds as we move forward.
Yeah, so on here, John, can you click on that payload tab? I want to see the filters. And yeah, so like here, there's no filters. So it's just getting everything.
Well, it is filtering by deleted and
it's not though. Like,
Well, no, it's bringing the fields deleted. So it's a different kind of filtering. I've heard people refer to it that way before. But the actual filters field there is not filtering. So it's saying get all records. So get deleted ID and the other one for all records.
Yeah, so that I can pull up that action here. John, I don't know if you want to see if you can find it. Let me pull up Builder here on the side.
Pre-cache?
I bet it's one of those pre-caches, right?
Yeah, I think it's pre-cache.
That's got a filter though, actually.
That
so-
one has a filter, so it's not that. That's not a get. Maybe what's in down has a filter. This one probably.
Yeah. Oh no, that has an ID in it. See.
Yeah, but remember if you filter, I think by ID, doesn't it retrieve everything? Like
Even-
the ID look up above is not like a filter. A filter is gonna only retrieve the records that you're filtered for. The ID at the top will retrieve everything, but only like on the response, it does a get for everything, but it returns the one record.
So you're saying is what we should be doing is rather than sorting through this by the IDs section, we should be adding a filter for that
ID.
specific ID.
Yeah, against the
Okay.
ID.
Okay.
That's a great suggestion. So when you're filtering, that's something to keep in mind. That'll optimize things. So, and this is really a tip for everyone that's building.
Yeah.
Do it that way. Make sure to filter, use the filter.
Okay, because yeah, we thought we were under the impression that we were filtering by the ID section, but I guess that doesn't work that way. So that's good to know.
Yeah. And then I'm not sure if this is the one from that collection. John, can you put your mouse over the little action, the one that shows 5 on the left, and click the 3 dots and go to the JSON? Yeah, right there. And so filter set is RX. And can you go to the second tab you have open? I want to see if that's even the same collection. No, so this is a different collection. So that R1 is 2 above the one that we have selected. So there's somewhere else in a flow that's doing this get that we're looking at.
Probably a little after that one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with that in mind, I think we're going to go and audit all of the actions and redo the filtering so that we're filtering the correct way.
Yeah, I would definitely start with that because that might be like the root of all the issues as to why it's taking so long.
Mhm.
Because if it looks like that page is a route to a specific project, right? So you're already like looking at one thing, and there's no need to bring all projects or additional records that don't belong to that specific entity.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think we were just under the impression that the way we were doing it through IDs was actually reducing the load there to that one ID, but I guess that makes sense. So, okay.
Well, that's helpful to know for us too. Maybe there's something we can clarify there.
What I was
And
gonna
this
say
is-
is we need to clean that up on our end and just
Yeah.
explain. Yeah.
Like documentation.
Oh, that,
Have
yeah.
What's
Um,
that?
No, this is,
Oh,
and this
really?
is actually, this is great because that can be when we are writing, we need to be teaching about optimization from the get-go, right? Like here's from starting a build, if you're planning on building something like that. And that is, I think, definitely something that would be really helpful to add into there. Is that way of filtering, and then like, just checking, having that be one of the things that you check first when you're optimizing is like, go look at your flows and see what's loading on page load. So Drew, I think your first suggestion was maybe removing everything, separating everything out from page load onto a new flow, and then just potentially adding only a Lottie, loading that with the page load, then bringing everything in afterwards. And then the second, it looks like going through the flows and seeing where you can swap it to use the filtering by ID.
Yeah,
Are
but I
those
do
the
those
two
in
things you've
reverse
got for
order.
Scott?
Do the second one first. Check all the network stuff first. Then if it's as optimized as it can be and it's still slow, then move the stuff off the page load, page binding, because that one's more of a hassle. That's not like a quick thing.
Okay. Okay,
And then,
those are good starting things. Go ahead, Scott.
Quick question. Shoot, I just lost it. I had it there for a second. Sorry, I just lost it. It'll come back to me.
And they come and they go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, is there anything else we can take a peek at real quick before we move over to Anne? I see she's joined the call. And then Scott, if you remember, we can
Fair
hop
enough.
back.
Yeah, that'd be appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, absolutely. All right, super. Okay, so next up we've got Anne. Anne, are you ready to share your screen and chat with us? I'm not sure if you can hear me. You're currently muted. But if not, we can go on to the next thing. Okay, we'll wait for Anne to get back into the call. Alex, you are looking to do kind of another round on Google Charts, is that right?
Round 2.
Let's do it. Come on, Dorian, calling you up right away.
Awesome. Give
Round
me
2.
2 secs here.
Fight.
Nice.
Which, by the way, I'm pretty sure none of you could beat me if I'm Chun-Li. That was like my favorite game as a kid. I'm so good at it. Okay, Alex.
All right. Hopefully you can see this, and hopefully this works because my computer just restarted. So thanks for both to Drew and Dorian for all your help last week. I know we were back and forth with chat and getting this all sorted. So I think I'm at the point now where hopefully I can work on this graph a little bit more. We've got all the data in that if you see along this horizontal row here, all these lessons are numbered. So what I'd like to do is filter that so that it goes from 1 to however many, and then adjust this vertical column here. Now, I was playing with this. Let me move this window here. Playing with my Google chart element, and I don't know if I broke it or what, but it definitely started to look different in the like the builder side here when I started like adding like fiddling with some of these like configuration things. So I don't know, but I'd love your help to kind of steer in the right direction and hopefully get this sorted.
Yeah, for sure. And right now it doesn't work, or it does.
So well, you can see it does. It's kind of hard to tell because this vertical scale is so big. It should be like 1 to 10. So I think like you can see it is working, but it all looks like a flat line because
If that undefined one is too high, whatever that is thrown out. Like if you remove that data point, everything else would scale up appropriately and look better.
Oh,
It's interesting. I don't know what's causing it, but
Yeah, sounds reading 165.
so
Or it could be the sum of all the ones that don't have a lesson number,
something like that. Yeah.
because that's how it groups them, right?
Yeah.
Because lesson number is the category.
Gotcha. So there's a bunch in here that wouldn't have anything.
Yeah. So either those will need a lesson number added, or if it's just test data, you
Yeah,
know, just delete it.
So if I were to, excuse me as I try and speak here, delete those blank records, that should.
Yeah, they'll adjust the scale. They do have settings, which I think were the options that you're trying to add, where you can set the like the axes min and max.
Yeah.
It might ignore it though. In your case, if you have a data point that's off, it won't like let it go off the graph. I don't think that might be.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah. It
So
might
I tried I had to dig through some of the, like there's the V-axis, the grid lines interval from the, like one of these ones here.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find it.
That'll like keep your default like low and high from your data, but just change the amount of intervals in between, like the amount of lines. Like there's so many options they give you. I don't know all of them, but
Okay, and let's have a look. had one other gotcha when I was adding. See,
Yeah,
like
looks like
all
something
these
broken.
arguments are gone. Like there was like a hole
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
in here in these arguments, unless I'm in the wrong Google Charts.
Well, it's if you change an argument and say you like add a quote or do something weird, you could break the JSON, because all this interface is doing is translating into JSON. And if there's some like bad character, you can break the JSON and then you don't see anything. That's what I was about to say, is if you click the JSON tab up there, you can see what's actually in this element.
Where I wrote
Yeah,
it.
and I think don't save it because I'm pretty sure it's breaking when it's trying to set
I was
the.
trying to load it. Yeah, because it
Yeah,
works in the page. So
'cause
definitely
you
don't
can-
change or save anything.
Trying to see.
Because I did add, well, at least two, whatever you call them, arguments to the
Yeah.
element type. You can see them down here. I've got these min and max value. I was trying to like fiddle that.
Yeah, like maybe those dots or something are breaking it. There's probably just a weird character somewhere random, and like there's a way to fix it. But I think step one is Dorian's trying to figure out how we can not lose all this JSON. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll have to go in there. I have access to this project, right?
I don't know. I'll add you if not, but if you want to have a dig and we can do it offline, then
Yeah, I'll have to do that because I'll need to grab the JSON from the request and find that specific one and then go save it with the correct one. But it'll take me a bit to try to find which one it is.
Okay,
But that's
So-
most likely what's happening because they won't even load. But everything's just stored as JSON. It's just there's a bad character in there, so you can't interpret it.
cool. Okay. Well, thanks for the help, and I'll get started on fixing up all that.
Yeah, and just chat me that project and make sure I have access, and then I can go in there.
Cool. Thanks. The saga continues.
All right, thanks, Alex. Okay, Anne, are you ready?
Yes, yes. Thank
Great.
you. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
All right, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so this is what I'm building, like an avatar selection, and Josh has been helping me with like if I click on one and click on another one, it's like it will change to only one is selected. And my question, well, I think I want to start with a conceptual question first, is that I'm trying to build the pages dynamically, and I don't know if this is the right way because I'm kind of copying the structure from Drew's user authentication pattern. Is this dynamic?
You mean like the content changes without the URL changing?
Right.
Yeah, that should work. I mean, basically what you do to make it to do that level is you can have a component or actually anything, like you could do it to a div too if you wanted, and you use the open page into container action. So if that's what you're doing, then yeah, I mean, in that way it should be good.
Open page in the container action. Okay.
Yeah, like how do you change the content right now?
I'm not there yet, but I
Oh,
think
okay,
that's
okay.
what I have to do. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Another, yeah, sorry.
And I think, Drew, is what you're saying, if we zoom out, is what you're saying, you've got this main page and then you've got
Right.
a component on there. You build your other pages
Mhm.
and then you just use that component combined with the open container action to call the different pages to open in that container.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. The open page and container action, you're selecting a page to open and you're selecting a container to open it in. And there's other options, like if you want to pass information back and forth, but you don't have to do that. The main part of it is you just choose like that profile page and then choose the component that you want it to open into on the main page and put it on like a button click or something, you know?
Okay, I'll play around with that. And my next question is, how do I set up the page so that either an avatar is selected or the person can upload an image so that it's not like conflicting with each other. So then it saves as, if an image is uploaded, it saves as the avatar.
How do you tell it right now which avatar is selected? Like what happened? Like if you click continue on that button, does it already work or you didn't set that up yet?
Oh, I haven't set that up yet. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
my question.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually like maybe Dorian or Josh would even have a different idea because it's kind of up to you how you handle this. You can just do it in many ways. But what I would do is I would have a variable on that page for selected avatar. And so if they click one of the ones that you have, when they click it, you're setting selected avatar equals, you can give it an index number or a name or somehow define what it is. So selected avatar equals whatever. And then if they click to upload the image, you say selected avatar equals image. And so like you're telling your own application is just setting a variable to keep track of what's selected. And then when they click continue, you have to do an action that's called a condition. And you say like, if it's an image, do this thing. If it's, one of the other selected, do that thing. But that's kind of like what I said is almost like generic in a way, because there's a lot of different options. You can do it a lot of different ways. You might have some preferences in your workflow or maybe some things that make you do it a little differently. But I'd say that's the high level.
Okay. Definitely have to rewatch the recording to hear what you just said 3 times or more.
Well,
I can answer questions too. Like if you want to clarify some of that, live rather than go back, I can explain more. Maybe even like Dorian can explain it better. It's kind of the reason I was like sort of being vague is like I said, because there's so many options, so many different ways you could do it.
well, let's stick to one way and walk her through how to do that way. Can we do that? Or
Yeah.
is this something that would take a long time? Do you think we could do it in the next
Well,
5?
I can do the first part and then set you up in the second part. That'll take longer, but you can kind of go off, I think, at that point.
Okay.
Basically, so let's say, so you got that page and you probably don't have a variable like designated for this right now, but you just need to choose a variable. So it could be called like selected avatar or something, right? So you don't need to like actually type this anywhere yet, just like in your head, you just choose what you want it to be.
I do have something like that.
Okay.
Like here, maybe?
Parent page. Yeah. Well, let's see, that's
Sure.
row to get variable from. What is set? I'm not actually sure what that is. What is that actions, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I was about to ask, is this like a custom set variable action or?
I have no idea. I just clicked on this.
Because that first argument is not an argument in the set variable, right? It had to been modified.
It looks like that's a good
Can
action. I don't know.
you add click the add action and drop a new set variable action? Because I think the first thing it asks
Is
is
this one? This get
no. Oh, is that the one you added? That's,
yeah.
no,
I was
no.
trying to find this image and only this one came up. So
That makes sense because you're
so
still.
where is it?
It should just be called set variable, right? Or something.
Yeah, it's
like
called set variable, but it doesn't show up at the top because like every action has the word variable in the description. It's something we need to handle at some point, but yeah.
And they have the same icon, so it looked
right. I always
was
rely
like,
on the icon.
Oh wow, that's actually good feedback. We got to pay more attention.
Yeah,
to
we
that.
need
to
I plan
fix
to
that.
revamp those a little bit anyway.
So here I use select avatar. Oops.
Hmm.
On the parent page.
Yeah. So you can use parent page or root, but you don't want to use current page because you want to set this somewhere more universal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, parent's good.
Do
And
I
those
need anything?
avatars, are those from a data collection or what are those?
They are in my avatar collections.
And how do you display the image? Is it like a URL or is it
It's
uploaded?
I just uploaded to the data collection.
Okay, so it's a document upload. Okay.
So for this, I don't know if you have an idea, Dorian, you can run this too, but like I was just gonna say, I was originally thinking I would save the ID of the avatar here, but we could also just save the actual URL of the image. Is that what you were thinking?
That's what I was thinking, because then on the continue, it's just one flow. There's no condition.
Yeah.
And you're either saving it with that value or the uploaded value. And when you do one or the other, it just sets that variable, right? It just overrides each other.
Yeah.
But I guess the question would be, if you ever plan on changing the actual uploaded image to those data records, do you want those to update on all the existing users? Because if so, then we need to capture the ID and then reference the URL. But that's really just a preference. It does complicate it more, but it's definitely doable.
What's the
question make
question for
sense?
Anne?
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Cora.
Or maybe Drew can
Basically,
help.
like if
Yeah.
oh, sorry, you can go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think you'll.
It's basically comes down to if you want to change, like in the future, if you take like the second avatar in your list and you like give it a hat, do you want that hat to
Oh.
apply to like everyone who previously had that avatar, or only new people who use that avatar?
Oh, I think I would create a new avatar.
Okay,
Then easy.
so yeah, we'll keep it the easier method then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank
All
you.
right, so does she need to set anything for that variable value right there?
Yeah. We just
Yeah,
need to get it from the current record field and the field where we have the image. So current record field value, yeah. And then that's your avatars, and then the field, yeah, exactly. And then you can delete that other,
This one?
the non-set variable action.
Okay. They look alike.
Yeah.
Delete this one. That right? Is that all?
So that's step one. That's all for step one. Yeah.
Okay.
Next step would be on the image uploader. Basically what we're gonna do, or what I would do anyway, is when the image uploader is changed. So it's like if someone clicks and they upload an image, it fires a change event.
Mhm.
When it's changed, we're gonna set that same variable to the image loader, the image uploader value. So like first we'll need a flow, or you can click on the image uploader and go to change and go to like new flow. And we're just gonna create that flow.
So what should I call this one?
It's basically you're setting the avatar from the image uploader. So I don't know what you want to call it, but it's like I would call it set avatar from image uploader.
Beautiful.
And then it's actually the same or a very similar action that you just
You can
did.
go
So you-
copy it.
yeah, you can
Like
go
we
copy
did.
it, or you can just do set variable again.
And just the variable one.
This.
Yeah, no, just number two of the yeah,
Oh,
just that
okay.
one exactly.
Yes. Copy.
Yeah.
Is it just me or it's
Like it's
slow?
slow.
Sometimes it gets hung up, yeah, especially when
Yes.
you're sharing video. So
Yeah.
it is like a little extra long this time, maybe.
Sorry about that. I think
No.
I have the wrong magnetic field. When I touch technology, I break it. It's true.
You get a lot of compliments on the sticky notes in the comment in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That is a cool. I actually that should just be in the studio. You should be able to add those anywhere. We talked about that before.
Right.
Oh, there it is.
There you go. And then just paste in there. Yeah.
Paste.
And then here you want to change that to current because we are already in the parent.
Okay.
And then the value, we need to change that to come from an element. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
And then select that image uploader element.
Okay. And so now whether you select the avatar or whether you upload the image, it all saves as that select avatar variable.
Oh.
Yep. So now on the continue button clicks, you can go to the continue button, click and do add new flow. You're just going to basically make a flow that saves that variable to the database, to the user.
Save to database. Collection. Is that right? Data.
Yeah, you can do save avatar to data collection if you want, but or I guess if their username's in there too, so that's fine. What because you can save them both at once or separately. Yeah. Again, there's so many options.
Let's save them at once.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
more efficient,
Yeah, keep it like that. Yep.
less requests.
Yep. And the action you want to add is called data update record, I guess, or is there a specific user one you'd use, Dorian? I would just use update record, but 'cause we're
Yeah,
updating the user collection, right? And do you have the field already for avatar?
well, first we need the ID. So select ID and then change the value to be current, instead of text on the right there.
Oh,
click-
okay.
Yeah, change it to current user info. Because I'm assuming the user's signed in when they're doing this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it would be ID. So we're
ID
just
for this
getting-
one.
Yeah, we're just saying update the current user record essentially.
Okay.
And then click map a field and then click in the fields. And then do you have a field for the username?
Yes.
Yeah, so select that and then get the value from that element. Change the type.
Username. Oops.
Or,
Yeah, so whatever the input is.
be the input, yeah, and then map another field. And this will be where you're saving the image.
Profile.
Profile picture, yeah. And then that's gonna be from variable,
Oh, variable.
yeah. And then type the name of that variable, or it's there, you can select it. And then I think that should do it,
There you
right?
go. Yep.
Should be it.
Awesome. I will test it maybe later. I have a really quick question about the image remove image button. Here I have it there. It should be easy, but I don't know why it's not linking. So I have an action called clear uploaded image where I use the image uploader reset action.
Yeah.
That should work. But when I test it out here, let me just upload an image.
Who is that?
It's my dog. So I click on
cute.
X. Thank you. It's not working. I'm clicking on this.
We'd probably first verify that the flow's even running, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
make
Open
sure
up-
there's no.
Developer, you want to open up developer tools and run it?
Yeah, I can send her
Is it definitely tied to that X button? Like if you close the action panel that's open and see the events, yeah, it's just making sure.
I'm wondering if like a Z index, are there any Z index that you're manually setting?
Z
Oh, I
index.
see what you're saying.
Like it can appear to be there, but you know.
Clicking like an element over top of it instead of it. Yeah. We
probably
can
not.
find that out quickly if you want to go to the preview. You can right click directly on the X and do inspect
Okay.
and see if it selects it when it pops up here, see if it selects it in the elements. It looks like it's it, right?
It's a paragraph. That's what that one is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. The next thing would be to test to see if that action's even firing.
You want to do the quick and dirty way? You can just do a console log
Yeah,
rather than that's like a faster way. He was going to give you like the real way, but this is like a little hack I use. If you go back to your studio and then go to that action, clear uploaded image.
Yes.
Yep. Just add a new action there. It's called console log. And all that console log does is outputs whatever you want, could be text or a variable, like into the console. It doesn't like actually affect your user facing app. So we can just, when it pops up, you can put it in there and then we'll just be able to know if it's getting into this actual flow or not. Step one. And so what it'll do is it'll say it worked in the console. That's fine for testing. So you can just go back to preview and test it again.
yeah, let's click that and see if it shows up.
And then, yeah, we'll look in the console of the inspector and
Yeah,
see
you'll
if it
need
says
the
it
dev
worked.
tools open still.
Okay.
And then at the top, go to the console tab. Yep, it is running,
It worked.
but it didn't work.
So yeah, that actual action that's resetting the uploader must be something that must be up with it. Is that new or do we have that one for a while?
I think it's a newer one.
Yeah, I thought we had
I
a
don't think
couple
I've
new
ever
actions around
used
those.
it.
Okay, let me see if I can find when it is. Okay, so since that's not working, do we have any workarounds for how to clear that image that we can set in with right now?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, there's technically a workaround where if you, so that the way it's previewing that image, it's just like showing it with CSS. So you could actually replace that with an action and make it look like it's not set. In the background, it will still be set though, like to whatever you uploaded it to. But in this case, if you select an avatar, you're ignoring the image upload field. So like for your case, it would work to get it to do like a workaround, but normally you actually can't do a workaround there. Is that just gibberish? Sorry.
You're talking to me. Sorry.
I don't know. I'm just kind of like saying things out loud more
Okay.
than anything. I'm kind of talking to Dorian, I guess. See
Yeah.
what he thinks.
Yeah,
so-
but end results though wouldn't be, I think,
Okay.
what she's wanting there.
All right, so we need to report this as I'll report right that.
Yeah, so I think that's all. I mean, thank you very much for your help. I don't want to take up too much time, but that was really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah,
All right, and so I'm gonna write that up as an issue, and it does look like this is a new action. It came out, Mark pushed it out in December. So I will write this up for him to go take a look at that. And so just hang tight on that. You can, I don't know if you have other stuff that you can work on, and then I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, I have plenty other stuff I
When
can
we
break
fix that.
and make. Yes, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Anne.
Okay,
Okay,
one quick question that we didn't validate was,
yeah.
like, did you ever have two image upload elements and deleted one? Like maybe it's selected to the
I
wrong
don't think
one.
so. I think I
No.
only did it once. Yeah.
Gotcha. One thing maybe you can try is change the name of the image
Okay.
upload, add like a
Mhm.
2, and then go to that action and see if it updated there. Because I'll
Change
tell you
the-
that it's linked.
Change the name of the image uploader.
Yeah, like if you select that element in the studio
Mhm.
at
Right.
the top right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then see what? Sorry, I didn't
And then
hear.
go to that action that's clearing it, and it should show the updated name, and that will validate that it is connected to the right element.
Okay. Yeah, it changed the
It
name.
is. Okay,
Mhm.
then yeah, it's definitely a bug then. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I will write that up.
Thanks.
All right, Anne, thank you. And I hope you have a nice rest of your day. All right,
you.
so let me take a look at the list. Let's see. Is Alpha Lars here? I don't think so. Alexander, you had asked a question if it was possible to show a simple example of applying the action transform JSON filter by array and value for no coders. Where did that question come from? Are you trying to make something? Do you just want to learn more about that action?
And we have a pattern that I created that he can actually go and test and see how it's set up.
Is it the data pattern?
The data manipulation. Yeah.
Okay, Dorian, can you take us through that? Can you create a new project and import that pattern, and then we can just show Alexander? That's a perfect example. I'm glad you remembered that.
Yes, that's okay.
Okay, so Dorian's going to show he created this amazing data manipulation pattern, and it comes with a whole bunch of flows and different ways of working with data that you can, different things that you can do. And so that will be a really good example. And I think it's just a pattern. You can bring it into your project, and then you can click on the things and see how everything is set up.
Yes, that is great idea.
Okay.
All right, let me show my screen.
And then let's see. So we're doing pretty good on time. So we'll walk through this, and then I don't think Lars is in the call. Does anyone, if anyone else has anything that they need help with please chat it or DM me.
That huge screen.
It's probably too tiny, right? Hold on.
It was probably fine. It's just usually you don't show that full thing.
So Alexander, at the top, when you,
Let me.
I think it showed pretty fast, Dorian, but you'll go to the patterns and then the pattern's called data manipulation
Okay, is that bigger?
and you'll
Yeah, that's
import
good.
that. Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, if you go to patterns and you'll see it here, this one here. I already imported it, so I'm not going to click on it. But this one, actually, I haven't used this in a while, so I don't remember, but let's go look. I'm pretty sure it's this one, filter by value. I think it's the one you were talking about.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And this has a, oh, that's right, it has a pretty cool setup. And when you bring in that pattern, what this one does is like, this is the initial data, and this is just like test data that you can play with. And the way it's using it is to apply a filter on the data, and I'm showing like different examples, like filter it if it contains a specific value. So like if I do Mario, maybe, it's not working anymore.
That's right.
Interesting. Maybe it's a bug where it doesn't. Maybe not. Huh, I think that broke. We'll have to look at that. But let's go look at the setup and see. Now we can at least go over how that action works. So if we go to this page, and this is the action here. So the first argument in that action is essentially the data that you're going to begin with. In this example, it's just getting it from a variable. And the variable is just setting a builder data collection. I'm assuming it's setting it on page load. Yeah, this here. It's actually getting it from the table. The table must have like default data in it. And the reason it's just setting it in this example on page load so that the original data is there. And no matter what filters you apply with, it always resets and it gets it from the initial data. So that's what that one does. But you can essentially grab that value from anywhere you want, a data collection, a variable, if you pulled it from an API first and then put it into a variable. The second argument, you're essentially declaring the property inside of the data collection that you're trying to filter against. So for example, I guess in your setup, are you using builder data, or are you going to use like a API external data source?
Only builder data.
Okay,
Yes.
that makes it easier. So in your example, this initial one would come from a data collection, and I don't have one here, but you would select the data collection. I would get all the fields. Add any filters if you need to pre-filter the data that's initially being set. If not, then just ignore that. For the starting array property, this will come from fields, is what the default will be. And you're going to essentially select the same data collection that you're starting with, but
Yes.
here you're just declaring the field that you're trying to filter against. So like if I got the list of users and I want to filter against the login ID, then that's the field I would select. So you just have to make sure that the first two arguments come from the same data source. Then there's the filter operator. This is where you can tell that what type of filter are you trying to perform. Either it contains, so if it contains the value within that field that you're searching, equals is doing an exact match. Greater than, less than, or equal, less than, these are really more for dates or numbers. It's not really going to work with just string values. The next thing is the filter value. This is where you declare where you're getting the value to filter against. So this can be a static thing if it's just a static filter you're trying to apply. In this case, it's just getting it from this field because it's just a dynamic reference to that field, and that's the value that it's going to use to filter the login field in this users table. There's an option here called ignore empty filter value. By default, this is toggled on. Essentially it's just doing what it says here. So if you have empty values in some of the records, it's just going to ignore them. That way it doesn't return them, which is typically what you want. And then the last set of arguments here, it's a toggle where you can say, where do you want to set the response after it filtered the initial data? Where do you want to set it? Do you want to set it back into an element, or do you just want to put it back into a variable? And then based on that toggle, that's going to change the options that show up below. And then that's it for that action. I'm not sure if you have any questions or.
No, I don't have questions. I'm trying tomorrow for this patent, and then to try in my application, because I in the last weeks we talking about some filters about reset some data, and I'm trying from this patent. Maybe in the next week, if I have some questions about this, I'm to ask.
Gotcha. And is this for, if I remember right, we were talking about.
Yes, some data to yes,
parent.
some data to reset for the time.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you're gonna have a new data collection record that's like the day record.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so
I'm
for
trying
that,
to create some data stamp like a variable, and after that, when I click button to reset to data to continues to count.
yeah.
But to start from 0.
Yeah. So yeah. So you would
That
do,
is the idea.
yeah. So this one should work for that. The only difference in yours is the value you're filtering from. You essentially just need to find the current day record, so that you're finding only the relational records that belong to that day record.
Like timestamp.
Not timestamp, but
data stamp.
it would actually, you would filter against the ID because you want a relation between them using IDs, not an actual date.
Mhm.
But the record itself is essentially a day. So like for today, you would have a record that's for February 16 or 17. And then for tomorrow, it would be a new record for the next day, or I'm not sure in your UI if you're going to automatically create the records daily or only when they click a button. But yeah.
When I click button, I create new records with date and time, and one field account, some counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and after that, when I try to reset this counter to continues with from 0. I don't know. Do you understand me?
Yeah. No, I get it.
If you remember, I'm asked the last week.
Yeah, I remember. But yeah, this action will work for that.
Okay, I'm to try tomorrow and to try to settings this section, and maybe if I can't, I am to ask on the next week. If it's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Alexander. Okay, y'all. Well, that brings us to time. Dorian, thanks for showing us that. I'll go test through that pattern and see.
Yeah, see what's up with that.
See what failed there. The joys of doing spontaneous builder hours. You never know what's going to work and what's going to fail. Okay, great. We've got new bugs to write up. Thank you everyone for making it a great session today. We do this every week, so we'll see you next weekend, and I'll try and get this one uploaded real fast. I don't think there's any edits that I need to do. That way y'all can rewatch. So thank you. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Thank you, Dorian. Thank you, Drew, and have a great rest of the day.
Recording stopped.
Chris.